So
You have to stop. You have to stay. Yeah, one good game.
he had one good damn game.
Yeah, one good game.
This is your show. You supposed to introduce your coaches, man.
Come on, I be doing that as we flowing. You know what I'm saying?
As we flowing.
Yeah.
Damn, boy, I got my own show. That's the first I damn do. I want to make sure I respect my guests. God, see how you do, Arch?
I see. And this my first podcast I done been on. I feel privileged. It's like an honor.
Right.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I'm blessed. I'm with the family. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, understand who I'm with the mob. 2 talented brothers right here. You know what I'm saying? In the era of a dying breed. You talking about black coaches. You know what I'm saying? I'm blessed, you know what I'm saying? I'm speaking to the good brother, Coach Archer. Raru. Can you talk to the people one time if you can?
Just like he said, my name is Robert Archer. Currently, I coach at Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas. This is I think my 16th year of coaching. This is my 3rd year on the women's side. I've been on the men's side for the bulk of my time. I don't see myself switching back over. Kind of going back what you said about being, black men. I think we have a better opportunity on the women's side to advance as opposed to on the men's side. I mean, coach has experience, I have experience, and that ain't good enough. We both won. Like, it's kind of like on the men's side, like what does it take? I mean, we both had the opportunity to have players at the JUCO level to get jobs, and that still doesn't happen. So it's kind of like one of those situations where on the women's side, I think that you have a little bit more of an opportunity as black coaches to move up the ranks. And I'm not saying it's not as political as the men, because any job you do with the money that is involved, there's always going to be politics, but you can get hired on the strength of some other things on the women's side.
And joining us, you know what I'm saying? A man of many hats, we ain't gonna talk about the hats right now, or should we? You know what I'm saying? Listen, we're gonna get into that soon. The legend himself, LeVon Barnes. Can you talk to the people, Mr. Barnes?
I gotta use the Arch word. What kind of shit? Okay. And we able to curse on this show?
Of course.
Okay, shit show. What's going on, people? This is LeVon Barnes, man. The person who discovered Jalen Psych. I've been coaching 17 years now. I think got to be 17 years. Currently live in Durham, North Carolina. Head coach of the North Carolina School of Science and Math boys varsity basketball team. Semi-retired from basketball. Ran for office a couple different times. Had my own podcast, Unapologetic Podcast with LeVon Barnes. Check it out. On Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, you know it.
Spotify as well.
Anchor.fm, just trying to change the world one person at a time. And like Coach Archer was saying, man, part of the reason why I lost love for the game because of the bureaucracy of the game. We spent so, Arch and I, we probably got so many different war stories, of just grinding to get to the D1 level. And when we finally made it to the mountaintop, it was a shit show somewhat. And you had to learn the business side. And then when we linked up at the lot, it was a lot more other stuff that you had to deal with just from the JUCO level that I'm sure that we're going to get into as we go on tonight. But, college basketball is such a cutthroat business. It is not necessarily about who you know. It's about who know you. And the people that you might think got your back are the same ones that's going to stab you because they're trying to get the same job as you. Because as black coaches, those top whether top assistant jobs, Art could vouch on this, those top D1 assistant jobs are few far in between for the majority of Black coaches. So we all pretty much scrapping for the same types of jobs.
For sure.
So, it kind of took the love out the game because, man, you just like, damn, I did this. I was doing this the right way. I worked my way through the camps, do the AAU thing, got players, went to high school, coached high school, had a lot of Division I guys, finally make it to the mountaintop, get there, and it's just like, damn, this is it. So I know that we got a whole bunch of shit to talk about, but man, I'm proud to be on the show, man. Jalen Sims was one of the worst shooters that we've ever had at the LAC.
Appreciate you on that one, fellas. You know what I'm saying? I'ma just freestyle here. I ain't really gonna direct it. I really want to just free flow.
Why are you talking like that, bro? Why are you talking like you on the quiet storm?
Listen, what you mean? This my vibe. This my vibe. Listen, that's what I'm saying. Speaking of the Unapologetically Black podcast, can you you know what I'm saying? Can you can feel free to free plug as well. You know what I'm saying? That's your vibe. You seeing your vibe.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna plug it. You know what I'm saying? But
as you should.
This is Arch's first time, man, on a podcast, man. Let's talk about the beginning. Because we won a chip in the first year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the beginning of how we even became the last championship coaching staff.
I really want to say they won it last year.
The girls won, and I'm gonna put asterisks all over that, but the girls won, I think. They might have won a district championship they went to
the national tournament. I think the girls.
They went to the national tournament, but the boys.
No, they've been having some issues over there with different coaches and just issues and things.
Well, it never happened under our watch.
I used to follow them a little bit, but I don't really keep up as much. I see what the football team is doing. They getting it done. They played for the national championship, I think,
last year, the year before last.
So that's big.
Absolutely.
Can we dive into that first year a little bit if we can? Because I had a discussion with Jackson Steph. You know what I'm saying? And they was telling me it was so dysfunctional. That they wasn't really. I had a player that was your best player that wouldn't drink water, things of that nature.
Who would drink water?
DeAndre, man.
DeAndre, yeah.
All Britain, man.
Yeah, DeAndre.
Didn't believe in drinking water.
I mean, with the first year, I mean, the schedule with the group of guys, that's being my first year. I've been at Lackawanna, 3 years prior. We've had success. My first year there, we had an All-American. My second year, we had an All-American. In my third year, I probably should have got the job, but a little bit of me probably wasn't ready and not confident enough. And I had a chance to leave and go to Paris with one of my post players, Thomas White, who I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sean Oakman. That used to be at Baylor that got in that trouble on the football field that basically got Art Browse fired. Well, they went to the same school in Penwood, really good program. And so Kim asked me to actually stay. And I ended up staying, and I think we ended up going like maybe 500, but she kind of didn't like the guy that was there. They kind of clashed and butted heads, and he ended up getting fired. And I was at the Final Four, I think, in Houston, and she called me and offered me the job. So I get the job in like April. I think April-ish. I think
2000 and
this is 2011.
11.
I want to say, at least 11 and 12.
11 going into 12.
2011, I think. Yeah, because 12 is when we won it. So 2011, spring 2011, I get the job. And I'm in Dallas a lot because at the time, my fiance, who lived in Dallas, I was frequent in Dallas. So I was by myself. You know, I was doing everything by myself, and recruiting, I didn't have anybody, you know, working with me at the time. Cause I mean, the person that I wanted to hire, a former player who is now, he's like, he's an AAU guy with one of those Philly teams, Philly Pride, I think. He does something with Philly Pride. So I'm like, you know, I'll hire him. You know, that's a guy that I know. I really don't know anybody. And so I don't remember how me and Barnes got connected.
I heard this could be a myth. I heard that you actually knew the Cat Parnell prior.
I didn't know. Well, Purnell was somebody that I coached against. Purnell was at one of those JUCOs, I want to say in New York. I didn't really know him like that. Purnell doesn't come into play until like later.
Okay.
Later, bro. That's later. That segues into my shit show.
Yeah, that's a later situation. I didn't know him like that. Like I said, it was a person that, you know, I coached against probably when I was there with Nettie. And I don't remember at the time what JUCO he was at. But make a long story even shorter, I don't remember how me and Barnes actually got connected.
I think we got connected through
somebody might have called, maybe.
I think somebody called. Yeah, I don't know if it was T. Wilson on what.
Barnes, where are you at this time?
Right now, at that point in time, I was in Dallas.
Okay.
I was in Dallas, Texas, looking for a way out. I had coached one season at Cedar Valley College with the worst coach in the history of fucking basketball, Ron McDowell. I unapologetically blow up names and blow up spots. Ron McDowell was, you know, of course, a Kappa, but as an alpha man, I didn't, you know, it is what it was. But Ron was about 4'10", but his ego was like 8 feet tall. Short, Napoleon complex, really.
Okay.
You know, and Ron knew me when I was at Prairie View. I had just left just really left Prairie View. I got fired over there. It really wasn't my fault, but however, it is what it is when you're the low man on the totem pole. It is what it is. It's part of the business that you don't really understand, you know, that you learn as you go along, right? In college basketball, at least. But yeah, McDowell, man, he was the worst. He was a tyrant, man. He would come to practice hour and a half late. I had already worked the guys out, and he would come in there and say, practice is just getting started because I just got here. Boys been going hard. You know what I'm saying? The boys didn't like, the players didn't like him at all. Mm-hmm. And he just thought he had like a big ass office chair, and he would put that on the game floor because he thought he was Phil Jackson. Because you know how Phil sat in that big chair. I mean, and it was a joke. I mean, it was a absolutely
black man
coaching. Yeah, he's a black man. You know what I'm saying? It was absolutely the worst experience I've ever had in basketball.
Is this the D1 level?
The only reason why I stayed on the staff without knocking his ass out and quitting before the season was because the players were about to quit, and on that level, I didn't want them to hurt their opportunity to playing, hopefully, on the NC2A level. So I wound up staying. And so
you going
when
in
I met Arch, it was through. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Am I good?
Yeah.
So when I met Archer, man, it was through a mutual friend that said my man's looking for an assistant coach. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I don't remember. I just remember at that time, I was close with Toyelle, and she knew you, and we weren't really on the best terms, but she vouched for you. And I was in Dallas at the time, and I think we met at Kona because me, you, and
we met at Kona. Yeah, we met at Kona Grill.
Yeah, we definitely met.
Yeah,
and that was probably like July. And so at that point in time, I think prior to me meeting Barnes, I had signed Jax. Jax was my first signee and commit.
I remember
you had told me that. Yeah, you had told me about Jax.
So I had signed Jax, and I felt really, really good about him. That was like major for me.
Right.
signed him, and then I think I ended up having a tryout of some sort.
We had a huge.
How did you get Jax? We ain't just going. I don't want to just breeze over that. I just want it just for the story purposes.
Well, Jax, okay,
game? Was it a game or?
No, so one of my guys who I had honestly we never met. He was a white guy, older white guy, and at the time he was at D2 school out in Texas. And so he calls me or whatever. And I think, we might have talked, when I was at Lackawanna as an assistant, or maybe at Rice or somewhere like that. And so he connected me with Jackson's high school guy, Jackson's high school coach. And from that point on, that was my end in DC. That was my end, but I had got introduced to DC basketball. What's my man that plays? They're all in the league now. One of them played at Indiana. He played for the Pacers.
Oladipo.
So I saw Oladipo. I saw what's the little point guard that's best? Cook. I saw Quinn Cook. So I got a chance to see DC. What is it? The city versus the private school or something that they have there.
City Classic, probably.
So that was my first.
No, it's Capital City Classic.
Yeah, Capital City Classic. So that was my introduction when I was with Nettie as an assistant at Lackawanna. That was my introduction into DC basketball. Like, I'm like, shit, like, it's really good. It's probably just as good as Texas basketball. And, not just saying that, because at this point in time, I'm trying to figure out, well, if New York basketball is what it's cracked up to be, and Jersey, because I'm a Southern guy. So, the stories that you hear about, New York band or whatever. But I'm like, man, these kids in DC are really, really good. So fast forward to the Jax situation, end up developing a relationship with Jackson. I mean, I pretty much laid out as much red carpet for him as possible. And, I end up signing, end up wanting to, come and play for me. And then with some of the rest of the guys, like with your Steph and what's the other look? Antoine,
Darren.
Well, with Steph,
I'm gonna name all the ones you signed.
With Steph and with Anthony Grant and the other kid from West Virginia, I forget his name.
I'm talking about Khalil.
No, Khalil is a Baltimore kid. Khalil, I think, came the second year.
Yeah, Khalil came. No, Khalil was the first year too.
Oh, that's right.
Well, so, he was a walk-on.
So how I got Steph, I had a tryout.
Mm-hmm.
So I had kids from obviously, the Poconos and Anthony and this other kid, I can't think of his name, came from West Virginia. Mm-hmm. Well, a kid from West Virginia who was a little guard was by far the best kid in the gym. Then you had Steph, who was by far probably the most athletic kid in the gym. I mean, like freakish athlete, really, really good. And so we ended up getting out of that tryout. I ended up getting like maybe 3 or 4 kids out of that tryout.
You held that
I'm gonna read off that. I'm gonna read off the roster. Arch. It was Dwayne.
Dwayne was at the tryout.
Dwayne, Vince, Steph, Khalil, Shaquille, Antoine, Javon, Devontae.
Yeah.
Anthony Grant, DeAndre, Darian, and Devon. That's why I'm looking at this roster right now.
The kids that I'm talking about was like he started having some mental stuff, going along with him. He wasn't mentally strong, but and like I said, he was one of those kids that in that particular tryout, he was literally the best one in the gym. Dwayne was a pretty good basketball player too. So for that day, and for what we needed trying to get kids, because getting kids to, now having coached at the Division II level, JUCO, and being a Division I JUCO guy is totally different. See, I won a region title, at Lackawanna my first year, won a region title at Ranger, and didn't win the region, but ended up playing for a national championship and finished second in the country at Ranger. So even understanding the type of talent that you get, because we missed out on a bunch of talent because we didn't have full scholarships. So understanding that system with the scholarship situation, and you got guys who are willing, because you guys came to play for us. Like y'all could have probably went anywhere, but you came and played for us. So with all of those kids that we had, like they were good. They were brought there, and you know, like I said, at that point in time, we're talking about that's my, you know, 5th or 6th year as a coach, and you know, so still kind of green. You know what I'm saying? Even with understanding and knowing things that I probably could have did different, even from a recruiting standpoint. But it's hard to get kids that Lackawanna.
Right.
Like that's not an easy sell. So that's kind of the background we're getting. It started with Jax. Like Jax was the prize. You know, it started with him and trying to build pieces around him. And then with a player like Jax, he's a winner. So for somebody who had just won a state title his senior year in high school, and to come to Lackawanna and win his freshman year, win region his freshman year, it's really not all that shocking. And then another background about him, he leaves Lackawanna and goes and plays at Midwestern and wins there as well.
Right. I remember that, yeah.
So, you know, for him, like that's kind of the story behind, you know, getting him, you know, there. And obviously, you know, we have a good relationship to this day. And I mean, we was just at his wedding. I'm actually gonna see him on Saturday in Austin.
Okay.
So you know, but a really good kid. And I think, you know, with that team, that first team,
they gave us hell.
Yeah, our first game, we went and played Montgomery out there, and we were down at halftime. And I talked so bad to DeAndre. I threw the book at him, the scores book at him. And you know, we ended up winning that game.
Right.
And I mean, you know, Barnes can kind of tell you that season was just up and down. And partially, before I let Barnes get on, partially like if I had to do it all over again with our strength of schedule, my record as a head coach probably doesn't maybe reflect how good or bad I was. Okay. And I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, you know, we won, and I wanted to put them in a situation where they could get recruited.
Right.
So I sacrificed my record for my players so they could get recruited, so they could play Monroe, so they could go down to Florida and get those experiences that you had. Like, I mean, we don't have a chance. It's just an opportunity to put you in front of college coaches that may not come and know where Lackawanna is.
Right. I mean, I would agree with Arch with everything he said, especially I think both of our head coaching records did not reflect the talent that we had. I mean, we were better than what the records reflect, and that's okay because, again, our job was to help you get recruited. And I think that at the end of the day, even with that first team, now you know.
Now back to you, 11 and 12. You get the call, everything. You see.
Well, yeah, we met at Kona. I mean, literally offered me. I think he pretty much offered me the job point. And
what did you see in Barnes though, Archie? Anyway, can we know that?
I was in New York, so yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Literally, I was looking for a way to get back to the East Coast because my mom's was still in New York, and at the time she wasn't remarried, and she was getting up there in age, and I was like, damn, you know, I have been in Texas now, you know, damn near 6-7 years it felt like, and I was like, damn, okay, let me get this opportunity to come back on the East Coast. And then there was something about Archie and I, like just how we chopped. You know, it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I had more experience than Archie did at the time. You know what I'm saying? I definitely had more head coaching experience than he did. And I had more high level coaching experience than he did. However, the great thing about Archie is is we never had I cannot recall a jealous moment that we've ever fucking had. Not one time did I feel like, damn, you know, we not on the same
Right.
set. You know what I'm saying? And that's rare because, again, like I just said before, college basketball is such cutthroat, and you got two young black coaches that are hungry.
Right.
And we both were like, we're gonna use lack to get to the D1 level. That was the ultimate conversation that we had, was like, we're gonna use this so we can get back to these. Because we knew that we could recruit, get the players that we wanted to get, go out here and win a championship. Who's literally gonna say, all right, yo, you got two brothers out here who want to, you know, who are doing their thing, who wouldn't want that on a Division I roster?
And kind of the backtrack with the hiring of Barnes, I remember one of the conversations that I did have with him was a defensive type of conversation.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a defensive minded guy. That's not really my forte. And for me in the hiring process, like I don't have an ego. So what he's saying is absolutely right. He had more experience than me, you know, at that particular time. And I didn't feel a certain type of way, because at the end of the day, well, that's what you're supposed to do. You got to hire somebody that's better than you in certain areas. That's what they do in the NBA.
And hire somebody that's going to be loyal. You know,
right.
And
so I told him specifically, you know, because I have a football mentality background. I told him, I said, whatever you do defensively wise, that's what we're doing. So that was his thing. So you think about in practice, and even if you have conversations with other type of, you know, guys who play, you know, at the level, when it comes, you usually always just hear one voice. You know what I'm saying? Unless you kind of get up at those BCS Power 5 schools, it's usually just one voice. So it wasn't a situation where me and him, we're in a coach's meeting and he's telling me, this is what we're going to do defensively. No. This is your dog and pony show. This is what you do. I'm giving you the opportunity to coach and grow your craft as well. So you have a voice. So there's going to be that same level of respect. And then at the same time, you know, I don't want to make it sound like I'm grooming him, but you have a voice where when you get in this chair as a head coach, wherever it may be, everything falls into place.
Right.
So as young black men, and even that's at 32 years old, when I'm hiring somebody, understanding this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to grow my own tree.
Right.
So, and it goes back to even with me trying to hire a former player. Like if I get a job and one of you guys want to get into coaching, I'll snag one of y'all. I don't know how good or bad you may be, but I'll give you an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you want to do, so I can build my own tree, and then you grow from it and you learn. No different than this podcast. Like that's a brainer, us getting on this podcast. I don't know anything about podcasts, but I know that you're a former player. Whatever it is you need, I'm going to give it to you. Same thing for any of the rest of those guys.
That's right.
So there's some stuff with Mr. Albritton that I've done for him that, you know, that I don't have to say. I still support Jax. So I'm going to support all of y'all. I think the misconception, and I hate to cut Barnes off and I'll let him get back.
You good.
The misconception of us is that we're against y'all. No. As you get older, you understand, because the number is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
My number has not changed. My number has been the same for 20 years. And you still have it. You say, hey, coach, can you do X, Y, and Z? Let me know when. I'm on it. I think, going back to the hiring, that was one of the things that obviously I know that I needed in my hiring process. Have this conversation with Barnes. Can you do X, Y, and Z? This is what we doing. And that's how we got down.
Okay. And I respected the hell out of him for it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest with you, not every first year head coach would ever give up any part of their authority, technically, to anybody, especially somebody he may not even really know like that. But again, the it was almost instant connection that we was seeing it eye to eye. So even with recruiting, we knew what kind of kids we wanted to get. We knew what kind of athlete we wanted to get. So to just talk about that first year, that first year was rough as hell. It really wasn't because we didn't have the talent. We had talent, definitely. It was more we lacked real leadership. Now the captain of that team was Javon. Punchy was the captain of the team, and DeAndre was the captain of the team. But I just looked at the roster, and Punchy was a guy that played for Rue the year before. DC kid, son of a legend. Loved Punchy, man. That was like the first kid, I think, outside of Jax. I think Punchy was the first kid that you talked to me about.
Yeah.
I remember coming on campus and, Punchy was just like, yo, I'm a gym rat. I'm going to be this, that, and the fourth. And he was just one of those cool, like, to this day, even now.
Yeah.
Cool dudes. So, Jalen, you probably remember, like, Coach's Lift.
Yeah.
Invite only type of D. It wasn't everybody didn't get invited to that.
That's
but,
okay.
like Punchy was invited. Jax was invited, but he was scared that first year. And I think, on that team, you had Dwayne who could shoot, Vince could shoot. You had, I'm just looking at Darian could shoot. But then you had drive. Antoine was a driver. DeAndre was a driver. Shaquille, I'm gonna tell you, Shaquille came out of nowhere. He wasn't walk-on.
Yeah.
He was a walk-on that he showed promise because he would literally grab every board. And he had high energy.
Yeah.
Remember his tryout the same way I remember Khalil. Khalil was just scrappy.
Yeah.
And I think Khalil and Devontae were both football players.
That's what yeah.
Make the team.
Yeah.
And we just
athletic.
Yeah.
Another Baltimore kid.
Yeah. Devontae was a Baltimore kid. Khalil was close enough to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And then you had Anthony and you had Jax. And then you had Steph. And Steph was, like you said, Steph was the athlete. He didn't know how to control his athleticism. He was very raw.
Yeah.
What we did with that team, man, we literally were gym rats, yo. Like we would stay in that gym. The great thing about the LAC is because y'all was on the yard all day,
right?
We literally could be in the gym all day.
Right.
Literally. Like the girls basketball team might have practiced for an hour, but we would be practicing for like 4. You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely a grind. Just because the strength of the schedule, and I remember like, you got the trip to Florida and you playing against
Monroe,
Palm Beach and all these top schools. And I remember going to Monroe and getting smacked by 50. It was just, that's a game that, you look at and you like, man, and I think we was coming back from Christmas break. You go to, and right before Christmas break, we go to the Cecil tournament. And I don't know if we won a game there.
Nah, we didn't win a game. I don't think we won a game there until the next year. We're losing games and we get to the Essex game. Essex is rolling. Right. They steamrolling people, steamrolling. And in that league, ever since before we got there, like Lackawanna has been the basketball program, like hands down. And we're on a losing skid, and I don't want to say the morale is down, but we're playing good, and I remember going to Essex and we ended up losing to Essex, and I remember going in the locker room as a coach, and I'm like, we played. I was proud because we lost the game, but we played so hard.
We played so good. And I specifically remember saying, if y'all continue to play this hard, we will see them again.
Yep.
And from that point on, we didn't lose anymore.
Nope.
We didn't lose anymore. I mean, there was just something different from that point on. You know, it just kind of just clicked. And, you know, the president, you know, even when I got the job there, you know, he was a big basketball guy. And he
we lost 92-84. I'm looking at it. Lost 92-84.
And the president would always say, as long as you gel and click at the right time. And like I said, you know, we lose to Essex, and, you know, and it was just one of those games where, I mean, I don't want to say they were more athletic. It was just something about that team.
They had grit, B. They had grit.
And
they were coached by a great.
Yeah, they had good coaches
on the damn staff.
Yeah, they had really good coaches. They had really good coaches. I mean, it was just me and Barnes, two young dudes, and we're literally because one of the assistants there used to be the head coach at Raritan Valley, and the head coach, which I still talk to this day.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of him, and he's a very, very good coach. You know, he's one of those coaches. He's an older guy, like he should be a Division I head coach.
Right.
Like, he should have got the NJIT job.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I really, really respect him. I think he's the head coach at Lincoln now, I think.
Yeah, Corey's the head coach at Lincoln, man. Lincoln, PA, Lincoln U.
Yeah. So you know, with the skid that we go on and we beat Essex, and I remember getting on the bus and leaving the locker room and just feeling good. And I told them, and I specifically remember, like, yo, if we play this way, we'll see them again. And I mean, we started.
Y'all beat Essex, or y'all lost to Essex?
No, we lost to Essex. So I'm gonna run it down because it'll all come back quick. So Arch is right. We lost to Essex, and that's January 19th, 92-84, and we won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight.
Yeah.
So we beat Salem, who we had lost to the first time.
Yeah.
Mercer, who we had beat the first time. We mollywopped. We beat Deltech. We beat College County and Morris, who had a dick for a head coach. So we really loved beating his ass. And then we beat Deltech Stanton, and then we beat Burlington. Our first loss was to Harker.
Yeah, which everybody knew to Harker.
Right. They had D1s.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we lost to 2 straight before beating the Manor, who had another dick for a head coach who we loved, the Mollywop too.
Yeah.
To Orange County. Yeah.
The Orange County, I feel like the time that I've been at Lackawanna had always had Lackawanna's number. Like, I mean, I was there at Lackawanna 5 years, and I don't know if I ever beat Orange. And I've had really good teams. And in some time, one kid had like 30 or 40 points in a windmill dunk in a game. Right. And I mean, I never got the whole Orange thing. They just had our number. But going into the playoffs, and you know, the playoffs is, I think our first game was Raritan Valley.
Raritan Valley, 71 season. Actually, that was our toughest game. Raritan Valley, the semifinals, 71-65. I think we had I feel like we had.
What are y'all projected? Is it seeded or how does it work?
We're seeded.
Well, we're seeded by I think we only took 4 teams at that point in time. You had to either be 500 or had a winning record.
We're seeded like 2, I think. I think 2.
I think we were seeded number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we're seeded 2. We're top 2, and you know, I remember we played Raritan Valley in a
at Raritan.
No, this is Ocean. It was in Jersey. It was Ocean Valley Community Ocean something.
Yeah, they got like a big nice arena. And
we was at Brookdale Community College.
Okay. And Brookdale had like maybe 2 or 3 gyms in their facility, and we played in like the JV gym against Raritan Valley. We beat them. I think we hung out a little bit, go back, and we getting ready to play in the championship game.
I remember. So let me double back. DeAndre had 17. Steph had a big game. He had 13, and Jax had 11 that game.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell you, leading up to Essex, right? So I think we had that game was on March the 1st. Championship game was on that Thursday, March the 1st. Championship game was on Saturday, March the 3rd, right? So that gave us really one day.
Yeah, to prep.
Get ready for Essex, right? So, man, I'm talking to Arch. and we trying to figure out. We looking at I was looking at both game tapes. It's like, what the hell can we do? Because I think they had the big white boy that was really, really good.
They had another big that was pretty good.
Yeah, really, really good.
They were big.
But the one thing that we knew that they couldn't do was shoot. They was whooping ass because they were driving to the rack. So I was like, man, I don't know what I was watching. And I was like, yo, let's play foot in the hole.
Yeah.
And I said, we're going to play foot in the hole this whole game. And we had to teach it in a day. It wasn't like we had like 2-3 days no, we had to do this in a day. So we already were really good defensively from like switching our presses.
Yeah.
We would switch out the same way that Jalen, you played.
Yeah.
We switched out, we would go 44, we go white, we go gold, we go black. You know what I'm saying? The one time, well, maybe it was that was the second season. Me and Arch got into one time about the damn zone shit because I hate zone but we play zone.
We can go into that. We'll go into
that. That was the only time though.
That was the only time.
I was like,
that was actually with your group. With
his group. Yeah, that's what I mean. That was next year. So we go foot in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally, because we beat Essex by double. We beat them by 11.
For the basketball heads out there, but this defensive scheme that Barnes created, did you create it? Who got?
I didn't create that shit, man. I don't know if I forgot who I was watching. I might have been. It definitely was before Tony Bennett in Virginia was doing the shit. But like, I forgot whoever I was watching. I just knew that they couldn't shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what? We're gonna give them the three. If they're gonna beat us, they're gonna beat us by taking threes. Because we actually did a good job taking charges because Steph Coleman would take great charges.
Mm. And
what would take charges. So the only way that would work is if you got guys who are willing to take the hit.
Mm.
And what we wound up doing is we got those guys in foul trouble early and they could not adjust to the foot.
Yeah.
Everybody was either 1 foot, 2 feet in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Arch had, in the same out of bounds defense that we use, and still the one I use.
Yeah.
They couldn't score. They could not score. They couldn't score off any underneath out of bounds because the hole was clogged and they got frustrated. And so when we won that chip, it was because we as young coaches outgunned 25 other coaches over there by making an adjustment and the guys bought in.
Mm.
But then in the beginning of like, our guys are getting ready for that game, and I came out and I watched them warm up.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I watched them warm up, and they just had this arrogance about them. Just kind of
they were gonna steamroll.
They steamroll through the regular season, but in junior college at our level, there's no regular season champs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in order for you to do anything, you got to win the region. You can go 16-0, and I think they might have went 16-0 or close to it. And
close to it.
So I mean, I just remember coming out and watching them and warming up, and I'm just like, we're gonna beat them. And the game, and then coming in and telling them, and I'm like, just watching it, and that's a football thing. You can tell a lot by a team how they warm up. That's right. Football, whether you're in basketball, you be able to find out. So just watching them warm up and just being like, just having that confidence, and I mean, it was back and forth, and then kind of like Coach said, I mean, something clicked, and we took the lead, and they got in trouble, and the rest is kind of pretty much history. We ended up winning that game,
but then the story turns though.
The story
turns for the worse.
Yeah, because this particular year we have to play a bye district. So my years previously being at Lackawanna, we didn't have to play a bye district. We would automatically go to the national tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular year we had to play.
Before you tell us about that, because the bye game is something I want to talk about. Okay. I remember Steph saying something about Punch. You wanted Steph to start that game because of some reason, and Punch had to give him the spot before the game or something like that. You remember that?
I don't remember what happened.
Remember that part? I don't know, maybe.
I don't remember. I don't remember. It could have been. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happened. It could have been a change of lineup or something. Something had changed because that could be. I don't remember.
True.
But we ended up having to play a bye district, and we got to go to Rhode Island and play CCRI.
Drive up to.
Yeah. So we go there, and well, knowing hindsight, you got spring break that's on the mind. If we win, there's no spring break. If you lose, you got spring break. So, the course of that game, CCRI, they got this kid that's probably about a 6'4", 6'5" guard. That's really good. One of my boys at the time, I think Brooks was at K-State at the time. And they were interested in the kid. The kid was good. Like, the kid was really good. I mean, he was legit. But going into halftime, I think we were down maybe 1.
Yeah, we weren't down by much, man.
We were down by, but we played like shit.
Yeah, we were turning that thing. We were turning that thing over.
We played like shit. Make a long story even short, we ended up getting beat pretty badly. And I mean, we played at their place.
Was it because the star player didn't show up? That's what I recall hearing.
I mean, nobody showed up.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
DeAndre showed up.
We lost by. The score was 97-63. That game was over in the second half.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie. I remember me and Arch sitting on the bench. This was like, in a lot of ways, like, we were glad it was over.
Yeah. Because it was tiresome. And I mean, if that would have been a TV game on ESPN game, and that game would have probably went to our benches, we probably would never coach ever again.
Nah,
our face would have said it all.
Yeah,
and I mean, it was a good run, for what it was, but at the same time, just the expectations. And so, segue into the second year.
Coming off a championship.
Coming off a championship run, there is
what are you looking for coming off a championship? Like, what is there to look for?
High character kids.
Looking for high character kids, looking for kids who are better than what we have. So,
oh my God,
Steph can probably tell you this, and some of the rest of them. I think, and I remember saying this. I'm looking for players who are better than you, who are going to take the position.
That's correct.
That's the part of it. See, that's the business aspect. I'm looking for players better than you. There's a sense of arrogance with myself, even with, you remember y'all shooting shirts, State with Danville on there. I picked us as a coach. I picked us to win the league. We were picked to win the league. We have everything coming back. Who did we lose? We lost Antoine.
We lost Antoine. We lost DeAndre. We lost Punchy. We lost, we lost Shaquille. We wound up, well,
Shaquille would have came back.
He would have came, yeah, but
Shaquille came back, and that's part of the other story, probably why we moving on down the line, why we weren't successful. But at the beginning of the
we lost Dwayne.
Yeah, there's a sense of, I really like this team, talent wise, because we got, what's the kid from your hood?
We got Kwame. So I'm gonna give you that roster, bro. I'm gonna give you that roster, because that 2012, 2013 roster does need to be talked about, how we piecemealed that whole.
I'm still on, okay?
Can you hear me?
You said what?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So we got Vince coming back. We had Steph coming back. We had Noel Aru. Remember Noel? I think he was a football kid, but he.
Oh yeah.
From Cedar Cliff. No. Noel was a basketball. I think he was a basketball.
Football, yeah.
He was a football guy, but hella good.
Yeah.
We had Ray. We had Jalen. We had Bub. We had Tom O'Brien. Anthony coming back. We had Claude, DeMonte, Darian coming back. Cooley, Kwame, and Jax on the back end, right? When you look at that, and I'm going to say that was one of our biggest teams, because our back end of guys, Jackson 6'4", Kwame is 6'6", Darian was at 6'4". Now we lied about DeMonte being 6'5". That's a damn lie. Anthony was 6'5". Jalen was at 6'2.5", but we have him at 6'4". Noah was at 6'2". Steph was at 6'2". From a build, when you from eye test, was a big athletic team.
And we missed out on 2 kids that we should have had. One of Jackson's
teammates and one of Claw's teammates.
Yeah. And those guys end up going. One kid ended up going to Pope. One kid ended up going to one of these JUCOs out here in Texas. Ended up having a good career. He ended up transferring to McMurray or one of those schools. Ended up having a good career. So we missed out on 2 potential kids.
Right.
So it was just a sense of there's really good talent. It even kind of like being excited about even yourself, an Alabama kid, and having a big guard. You know what I'm saying? I haven't had a big guard in a very long time, a big guard that could shoot the basketball. So there's a sense of we have a point guard, we got a good 2 guard, we got 3, we got a good team on paper.
Right.
On paper, starting the season, like we're picked to win. Our peers picked us to win the league. You know,
not to mention who else we forgot. We forgetting that we could have had Terry.
Yeah, we should have had Terry.
Should have had Terry.
So you're talking about now you have Terry Turner, who is a high major caliber kid.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? That can play 1, 2, 3. So
right.
that changes the dynamic of things as well. So then you have where there's competition and you're deep. You know, you have a deep squad. So now you can maybe do different things that maybe we don't do the previous year. But, you know, the season starts and we underachieve. The season starts and I got Khalil. I got to get rid of Khalil. He keeps getting in trouble. I got Shaquille he's smoking marijuana. You know what I'm saying? So you end up losing your starting
2 vets, right?
And your starting 5.
Because to keep it a band, Khalil was on his way to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was on his way to start at the 1. And honestly, Khalil leaving was Cooley's opportunity.
Right.
Because when I look at that roster, if we was to just like take for Vincent for what he was, Vincent should have been the best 2 guard, and Trey could have been a 1 had he gotten his ish together. And then you talking about, you know, when I saw Bub came to me. I forgot who put me on Bub, but I went down to Philly and I saw Bub play, looking like a bum in them damn capri pants that he he loved to wear so damn much.
I think he said it was during Ramadan.
It was during I think it was during Ramadan, and I was like, yo, the kid's gritty and the kid could shoot. I was like, all right, we need another shooter, because what killed us in a lot of the games is that we didn't have 3-point shooting.
Right.
Before that, we were a driving team, and every once in a while somebody would, you know,
make 3, yeah,
3. You know what I'm saying? So we needed 3-point shooting, and then with Tom. Because I mean, and Ruger talk about the kid. Ruger talk about like Claude came in. He was one of yours.
Yeah,
like primary recruiter. Claude was a primary recruiter for you. Him. Torrey was a primary recruiter for you, I think. And then I think maybe was Vince.
Yeah, Vince, and like even with Cooley.
Cool.
So Cooley,
I think we shared Cooley, cause
Cooley, I went and watched Cooley, I think by myself in an open gym. So the people,
that was the same time we went down there and saw DeMonte.
No, we saw DeMonte at the Capitol Classic. We double, me and you double back together. But I went to DC and saw Cooley. I went to an open gym and saw Cooley. And the second time we saw Cooley, he played against the kid that went to Duquesne. I forget the kid. They did a story on him. So Cooley,
the kid, DeMonte Seaman went to Duquesne. The point.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But we saw them in that open run after the Capital City Classic too, though. I saw
Cooley a time before. I saw Cooley in an open gym. It was like a ton of kids. I was in there by myself.
Okay.
And so I saw Cooley and I wasn't sold on Cooley. He was good, but I wasn't sold on him because I'm like, like he could play, but the competition wasn't there.
You know what it was? I think what sold us at the end though was when we saw him play in that open and he was locking up.
So fast forward the second time, we went back and saw him when he was playing against DeMonte's teammate, because at the time, like Cooley is playing against a mid-major guard, and he is holding his own. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up taking Cooley. And I mean, Cooley ended up having a good career, ended up playing well. And the thing that I hate with the not having Khalil and everything getting shifted, that had Cooley out of position. Cooley is not a point guard.
He's not.
He's a two. He's a two or a wing. So you have the domino effect with guys who are kind of playing out of position. So now it becomes where you got guys. It's almost like if you think about Power 5 schools like a Kentucky or Duke, you get guys out of high school that go to these Power 5 schools and they're able to do what they do great. And then when they go to the NBA and they fuck up, everybody's mad at them because, oh, well, this kid didn't do X, Y, and Z. Well, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to wear many hats. Same thing in AAU team. That's why AAU teams are stacked. You don't get exposed.
Right.
So, you know, just like you as a basketball player, if you're a shooter, and it's the same thing that happened to me in my first year at Lackawanna, my point guard gets hurt in the practice before the championship game. So we end up having to switch and put somebody else at the point. We had to put a guy who is really not a good ball handler. And he's hurt, and he had a chance to win the game. Ball goes off his foot. He's not a ball handler, but you don't have anything else. You don't have anything. That's just like putting you at the one. You're not a one.
Right.
Yeah, you damn sure not a one.
And it exposes you. It makes you look bad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with the Khalil situation, that affected the whole scenario of the team. And then on top of, you have guys who are disgruntled who think that something is owed to them because they won a championship the year before, i.e. Steph, i.e. Vincent, i.e. some of these other people who end up becoming bitter because they feel like something is owed to them. Well, you have these other guys who are better.
Right. And that was the big thing about y'all's group was coachability. That y'all were a little bit better coachable than the previous group, but because the previous group, veteran guys outside of Jax, those sophomores bit into all the bad habits of the sophomores from the previous year.
Right.
And that played a major role in a lot of things, because what we wanted to bring in was less headaches. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, can we trust you to not do nothing dumb on this campus that's going to cost us our job? You know, where we got to, because, you know, I know we're back and forth on things, but we got to understand our first year, somebody got killed on the yard. And I think because Rue and I were the only Black coaches, and it was a Black kid that got killed, you know, I spent a lot of time on that campus, not even in a full-time position on that campus. You know, just being around to help some of those Black athletes comprehend what was going on. That was a big deal. You know, Rue was there as the dorm director, and was, you know, obviously on campus all the time, but you know, we wanted guys that we could trust. And if you look at that roster, the guys who we couldn't trust are the ones that wound up getting bounced off the team.
Yeah.
Or better yet, they wound up doing dumb things to make us want to kick the asses off the team. You know, Vince included. Vince Mageddon over there, who wants to put his clothes on the damn sprinkler head, floods the damn dorm. You know, that's the type of, like, we getting calls about shit like that. Or with the Khalil situation where he want to go box a kid, you know, him and Kwame, and want to go box some kid and wind up hurting the kid or something like that.
Happened in the calf.
In the cab or something. And then you got Steph with doing a lot of just dumb shit at the time because he felt privileged. And I just kind of look at, you know, Anthony having moments, spaceman moment, right? And then you had Darian, who, you know, honestly, I look on that beyond off.
That's why he said soft sits.
Right. And then, you know, but because Darian is a quiet kid, you know, he wasn't very outspoken to us, but probably very much more outspoken to y'all, you know, as a player. And then, you know, Jax was a on the floor leader in the sense of he wasn't ever going to be the vocal leader that we wanted him to be. He was a on the court, I'm gonna do the work and you gonna ride this train leader, right? So when I look at that team, we didn't have a vocal leader. Y'all didn't respect Tom enough at that point in time to be like, all right, I'm gonna follow, we're gonna listen to Tom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that there was some resentment because Tom wound up starting.
Tom was a pure one. He was a pure point guard.
But talent wise, he shouldn't have been starting.
No. He started by default.
Right.
Because we don't have a point guard because Khalil is kicked off the team at this point in time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that causes, I mean, you talk to these guys, and I mean, you know, y'all are grown and adults now. And I mean, like I said, if you think about now you're going down memory lane. Now we're having banter.
Oh, you know who else was on that team? I forgot. Phil was on that team. I'm looking at the team photo.
Oh.
Phil was on that team.
Phil only played a semester.
He played a semester.
Yeah.
But Khalil was on the team long enough to be in that team photo. You know, I'm looking at the
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that, like I said, on paper, that team, you know, and now that it's being broke down about, you know, the typical kids and how people are. I mean, Barnes is right. Like, you know, maybe we weren't as good as we thought we were. Maybe y'all weren't as good as maybe you thought you were. And like I said, you know, like now hindsight, now what are we 9 years, 10 years removed from that team,
right?
Give or take. So now as adults and now with, you know, now with experience under my belt and the knowledge and things like that, now it's like, do y'all really want to have this conversation?
That's
heavy. Is this the conversation that you really, really want to have?
Right.
10 years in, because now my train didn't stop.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Because I left there, and we don't have to segue in that, but just even from a JUCO standpoint,
right,
my train didn't stop. So I went back to the JUCO level and coaching different type of kids, and you know, having and still even with y'all, with even not winning, still trying to put you in a situation where you could get your education paid for.
Right. Exactly.
That's what we